I welcome you back again to another video lecture on C++ programming, and in this video lecture we'll go ahead and create a simple project that will help us to generate Armstrong numbers. So in the previous lecture, we were able to create a simple project that will help us to check Armstrong numbers from the user. But this time around, because we don't know the Armstrong numbers, we're going to create this project to help us to generate the Armstrong numbers, and we are going to know all the Armstrong numbers we have to n numbers. So any number you want, you can choose Armstrong numbers from 1 to 1 million to know all of them. All right. So we start by initializing remainder x and for a semicolon. Then let's take long because you might want to check up to 50 million and no one knows. And let's say y equal to 0 and z equal to 0, and let's check temp. So this is just temporary, and we go ahead and ask the user to enter any number, any range of numbers he or she wants to check is Armstrong. So I'm going to use cout, and I'm going to say insert range of Armstrong numbers. Insert range of Armstrong numbers. So go ahead and end this, and let's say cin, and we want to save that right inside y. Let's save that right inside y and put a semicolon. So now we are going to print out the result. So to print our result, we're going to use a for loop. We can go ahead and write a small sentence and tell the user the list of Armstrong numbers up to y. So the list of Armstrong numbers up to y are, okay. Go ahead and end that, and for us to print that, we're going to use a for loop to do that. Okay, that is why I stopped here. Then the for loop will do the remaining job. Go ahead and say for, and that is for x equal to 1 for a semicolon, and x less than or equal to y, that is the range chosen, and x increment. Then we go ahead and say temp is equal to x and put a semicolon. Now let's go ahead and use a while loop and check if temp is not equal to 0. So you might see that you always check that to make sure that this is not equal to 0, because if it's equal to 0, then there is nothing that will be printed out. Okay, so once it is not equal to 0, then remember rem is going to be equal to temp modulus 10. So we're going to get the remainder from here, and then you go ahead and say z is equal to z plus rem multiply rem. Okay, so this is the remainder. We're going to check the cube, and then we're going to discard the remainder by saying temp is equal to temp divide by 10, put a semicolon. So the remainder is now removed. Now we go ahead and use the if statement to check if x is equivalent to z. So if x is equivalent to z, that means it is Armstrong. It will print out all the Armstrong. Then go ahead and say cout. Remember, it is going to be many. Pass in the value of x right in there, and end line. Then z goes back to 0 to check for the next one. So z goes back to 0. Okay, so that is the end. Let's go ahead and run this code and check it out to make sure everything works out fine. So we start by initializing, and let's go ahead and choose range of Armstrong numbers. So how many do you want? Let's say you want Armstrong numbers up to 200 and hit. So the list of Armstrong numbers are just one. Wow, just one. Let's make that to be up to 400. So the list of Armstrong numbers are, we have just one right here. Let's check it out. So let's go ahead and remove z equal to 0 from here. So that's going to be outside the if statement. So that is, once it prints out this, it has to print out all of them before it goes to 0. But what happens is that once it prints out the first one, it goes back to 0 immediately. So it has to finish executing the if statement before z goes back to 0. Let's go ahead and run this code again and check it out. So first Armstrong number is always 1. So if you want Armstrong number up to 400, let's go ahead and see that. You see that? 1 1 5 3 3 7 0 3 7 1. What if you want Armstrong numbers up to 500? Let's go ahead and check out that. Let's say 500, and you can see 407 is inclusive because we have checked it out and we saw that 407 is an Armstrong number. So you can see that this works out fine. Please remove this z. Please let z be outside the if statement so that your code will finish executing before running back to 0. Okay, so that is why it stops at 1 always, because 1 is always the first one. So the code is just valid before you. Go ahead and pull it down on your own system, play around with it, and in case if you have any question, please use the question and answer section and I'm going to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much, and I'm going to see you in the next video lecture.